Hello and welcome to Uncommon Law, my podcast about true stories from my life experience of over 50 years as a lawyer and trial judge. This is a look at the law from the inside out, stuff they don't teach in law school. This is Judge Rudy Greco, retired Justice of the New York State Supreme Court. There was a young couple in Jackson Heights. They were friends of mine, Mario and Sonia. One of the most beautiful young couples you've ever laid eyes on. They were energetic, humorous, smart, good-looking. They could have been on the cover of any wedding magazine, or they could have been stars in a rom-com film. Sonia was tall, slim, a Eurasian beauty, well-educated, the daughter of diplomats. Mario was from South America. He was a star soccer player, came here as a young man, as a teenager. And right next to the dictionary, they should have his picture where it said handsome Latino. He was something else. And he was a funny guy. He had a great sense of humor, an infectious smile. And he used to refer to himself as Big Daddy, which was really funny because he wasn't a big guy. He was about 5'8" or something like that. But he wasn't necessarily big. And the two of them were a great, great team. Mario was a NYPD undercover narcotics cop and hated the job. He had been doing it for 7 years. And he said, Rudy, it's dirty, it's dangerous, I don't like it, and I'm getting out. I'm going to transfer. I put in my papers, and I've been accepted. I'm going to start as a probationary FDNY firefighter. Call them probies for short. The couple was very, very happy. They were living together in a rental apartment. They opened for her a gift shop in Jackson Heights, which was really, really nice. They sold all kinds of soap and candles and various things of that nature. And it was really, really, really pretty place. And I helped them with the lease because I had my coffee shop on the same block. And I knew the landlords. They were Orthodox Jewish guys, very decent guys. And I interceded with them to help Mario and Sonia get a favorable lease on my recommendation because I was in good terms with the landlords. And they were happy to open the shop. And our shop succeeded right away. It was very, very good. She had very, very nice taste and she knew what she wanted to sell. And she had it all set up in very, very businesslike and very pretty fashion. Right after that, they bought a co-op apartment. And I helped them out with that as an attorney. And they settled in, and that was also in the neighborhood. And they had a beautiful, beautiful car, and they became instantly popular in the building because they were just infectiously likable people. And Mario had transferred then. He was happy as a clam. He was a probie. He started his first year after he got out of the academy with the FDNY, and he was assigned to the firehouse right at the foot of the World Trade Center for the first year. And he completed that year. And that's a pretty easy gig at that time. It was after the first attack and before the second attack. And he then transferred to a tougher assignment in Brooklyn. And in Brooklyn, he was on a ladder, which they call a truck in the fire department. There are two kinds of fire trucks in every firehouse, basically. The engine, which is a pumper, and the truck, which is the ladder. And they tease each other. The firemen all from one piece of equipment to the other, they tease each other because the engine guys would say, we're the guys that put out the fires. We were up there doing the war. You guys, I don't know what you're doing. And then those guys on the ladder say, oh, you guys are chicken. You know, we're the swashbucklers. We're the brave guys. We go up and rescue people and climb ladders and climb up the sides of fire escapes, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's a lot of going on. But the fact of the matter is, it's all good-natured and they all stick together. And Mario was totally happy because the police department culture is way, way different from the fire department culture. The police department, there's a big dichotomy between the rank and file patrolmen and the officers. They have nothing to do with one another and they don't like one another. In the fire department, the fire officers live with the rank and file men, and in every fire, it's the commanding officer that goes in first. So he has to be a real leader and earn the respect, consequently, of all the men because he's first one in, assessing the inherent dangers in each fire. So it's a very, very different culture. And in the police department, if anybody misbehaves as a patrolman, the department tries to throw them under the bus. They're expendable. And in the fire department, they defend one another very, very much. They're totally loyal. And so Mario was totally happy. And just like he was in the police department, he became a star on the fire department soccer team. And he was just as happy as a clam. And in July, August of 2001, they became engaged. and Sonia came running to my coffee shop. Rudy, I want you to look at this. And she flashes a ring. It's a beautiful, beautiful engagement ring that Mario bought her. She was in heaven. I went to see the both of them together, came in for coffee. Both of them were delighted and happy. Everything was going good, and they had wedding plans for the following year. The shop was running right. The co-op was great. It was furnished. The fire department was a phenomenal job for Mario. Everything was going good. Comes 9/11, and Mario's just going off duty when the alarm was sounded, and he and his unit, everybody climbed back on the truck, on the ladder, and right over to the World Trade Center. And I forget which building he was in, but a friend of mine who was a detective had gone to a police academy with Mario, did some detective work, and found out later that Mario's unit was climbing up the building, and they were last heard from on the 68th floor when the building crumbled, and they were never found. No, not even a trace. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't even find the truck or the wreckage of the truck that was identifiable. And Mario was gone, and that was the end of a wonderful, wonderful existence. And that was a nightmarish end to this relationship. I went to the funeral mass of Mario, and one of the guys who spoke was a dear friend of his. I think was going to be a groomsman for him, and they had come through the police academy together. This guy was still a cop, and he told the story. It was typical Mario, you know. He said, our first day, we're in a tough precinct, and there was a pool table in the precinct, and it was restricted to the hairbags only. They used to say hairbags is a police term referring to the old veteran policemen, because their uniforms in those days, those woolen uniforms, used to be stuffed with horsehair at the shoulders. They were padded with horsehair at the shoulders. And when they got old and scraggly, they would call the uniforms hairbags, and that became shorthand for the veteran police officers. They would refer to themselves and each other as hairbags. They've been around the job for a long time, 20 years or more, or approaching 20 years or more. And the pool table was reserved, and they were told as soon as they got there, Mario and the guy who spoke at his funeral were told, keep away from the table. This is not for rookies, okay? This is for the old timers and the veterans. You can't play. He said, well, Mario, you think he cared? He says, I walk in there, and there's Mario shooting pool with all the old hairbags and taking their money, and they're loving him, patting him on the back. Mario, whoa, way to go, great shot, this, that, the other thing. And he's smiling, and he's winning all their money, and they're loving it. And that was typical Mario. That was just emblematic of his entire demeanor and his personality. Well, years later, and we put in a tree pit in Jackson Heights, there's a memorial plaque, a bronze plaque, right in front of the what used to be the gift shop. Not a gift shop any longer. Sonia, who was devastated, moved away, and 5 years later, 5 or 6 or 7 years later, got married and had 2 kids and lives way, way out of state. But every year, we make sure we take care of the tree pit, and every year on 9/11, people in the neighborhood put flowers there, and the plaque, which is stuck in the ground in cement in the tree pit, has like they do in cemeteries, a photo of the handsomest firefighter you'll ever see. And every time I pass that memorial, and I do practically every day, I see Mario's picture, and I get a vision of Mario laughing at a pool table in heaven, hustling the angels out of their money. Thanks for listening. Come back next week for another episode of Uncommon Law, lessons they don't teach in law school. I'm Judge Rudy Greco. Court is adjourned.